Well, good afternoon. My name is Elizabeth Weber, and these are my partners, Sarah Rolls, Chad Nix, and Lauren Kim. Before we begin today, I'd like to take a moment to thank the judges. We know it's been a bit of a long afternoon, and so we really appreciate your time in being here today. The agenda for today is as follows. We will start with the company history, followed by the marketing strategy, the sales process, recommendations, and conclude with the financial impact. This semester, we have had the privilege of working alongside the Oregon State Fair Exposition Center. As many of you are aware, the Oregon State Fair has been an integral part of the Salem community for over 150 years. The fair runs for 2 weeks every year, beginning at the end of August. This leaves the facility where the fair takes place, the Expo, vacant for the remaining 50 weeks of the year. This facility is comprised of 6 diverse venues. However, due to the length of our project, we chose to focus on what we believe will be the 3 most profitable venues. These include the Jackman Long, the Columbia Hall, and the Floral Building. The Jackman Long is 48,000 square feet. The Columbia Hall is 36,000 square feet. And the Floral Building is 4,000 square feet. Now, all 3 of these venues cater to a diverse set of varying needs, from small weddings to large trade shows. Next, Sarah will talk about the challenges that we faced with this project.
Thank you, Liz. As we move forward with the project, these are the main challenges that we saw the Expo facing. So first is a lack of financial self-sufficiency. The Expo recently transitioned from a government-run company to a private-public hybrid. So now they face a need to turn a profit 3 of their first 5 years with this new structure. Also is venue space vacancy. So the Expo, with 6 venues running year-round, has an incredible capacity to fill with community, private, and company events. However, the venue space is not full or close to capacity, when we believe this is partly due to a lack of awareness in the community. While the fairgrounds is a well-known place, the Expo Center is not as widely recognized, and they're the same thing. Last is internal structure. With all of these changes that the Expo faces, it's no wonder that the Expo has faced struggling problems with internal structure and organization policies and procedures. This brings us to our project scope, which was to design a marketing plan to increase revenue and to target the 3 most profitable venues year-round. Also with our marketing plan are accompanying internal changes that will give the Expo the best chance at success in implementing our recommendations. So in looking at the competition, these are the 3 competitors that we believe are closest to the Expo in a variety of amenities, sizing, and location. This is the Portland Expo Center, the Lynn County Expo, and the Lane Event Center. These competitors are comparably priced and have many strengths that the Expo can implement, such as a clear pricing structure that's easy to understand, an engaging web presence that shows connection with the customers, as well as what's going on at the event center. And lastly, we looked at the competition compared to the Expo, which brings us to the current marketing strategy. So the Expo's current marketing strategy is very straightforward. They are mostly focused on the website, the Expo-specific website, with an additional promotional packet. Once the Expo receives the interest of the customers, they are given a promotional packet outlining the venue. Lastly is community outreach, which is where we see the potential for growth, and they have been working on improving in this area. With all this in mind, this brings us to our proposed marketing strategy with 3 key elements. First is developing brand image. As we mentioned before, there's a lack of awareness of the Expo in the community. We want to piggyback on the fair's presence in the area while establishing a separate identity for the Expo so everyone knows where the Expo is. One way we recommend doing this is by implementing a website portal similar to Cal Expo, which has the fairgrounds and the Expo side by side, showing their connection and yet still that they're separate things. Next is our defined target market. With the Expo Center's customer base, they can handle any sort of event, so it's very hard to pinpoint a specific target market. However, after studying the competition as well as the Salem area, we believe that their target market is small to medium-sized company and community events. This is something that the competition has done very well to fill their schedule with smaller events throughout the week to bring in reliable revenue. Also, we believe this reflects the Salem area better, as most of the businesses are on the smaller side. Lastly is channels. So once we know how we want to present the Expo and who we're presenting to, we have to pick channels for the Expo to explore. Ultimately, they need to branch out into more channels beyond just the website. So first, like every other group, social media, but we're proposing a relaunch of their existing page to show engagement with the customers and to promote events that are coming up, similar to the competition. Also, with such a one-on-one business, we've seen a need for increased community partnerships and word of mouth. This is where the Expo can stand out compared to the competition, and it will be discussed in greater detail in our recommendations. Next, Chad is going to talk about our sales process.
Thank you, Sarah. So as Sarah mentioned, we're now going to discuss the sales process in the venue industry as it pertains to the Expo. There are typically 3 easy steps to making a sale. Step 1 is to gather leads. Step 2 is to book tours of the facilities. And step 3 is to book the events. Now, step 2 isn't always necessary, as some clients are repeat business and do not require a tour, or they know what they're looking for. But this is generally how it flows. We're going to use this lovely sales funnel here to better explain how the sales process works. So this sales funnel is broken down into the 3 main parts I just mentioned. Down here on the ground, we have the leads, which will be poured into the top of the sales funnel. A percentage will make it past the tours here in the middle, and then any of these that reach it into the events bucket are representative of clients that have made it through the entire sales process and wish to rent from the Expo. Now, since the Expo features large, adaptable, customizable space, as well as a variety of different venues, they're able to host a wide range in event sizes, which are represented here. So we have the large, the medium, and the small. Yeah. So I think we're ready to go here. Sarah, if you would do the honors. I've worked really hard on this funnel, so I hope you're ready for it. Here we go. Everyone, the funnel. Yes, thank you guys so much for that. So as you can see in the bottom bucket here, we have a wide range of event sizes, and a percentage made it into the events bucket, which is great. Now for the Expo, specifically in 2015, they were able to bring in on average 60 leads per month, which then converted to 20 tours per month, and then eventually 12 events per month. So for their leads, 33% booked tours, and from those tours, 60% booked events. So you can see the tours step is super important in their sales process. So in other words, for every 5 leads they brought in, 1 event was booked. This 5-to-1 ratio is key in understanding how many leads are necessary to reach a desired events per month. For example, if they want to book 3 more events per month, they simply need to multiply that number by 5, which would give them the necessary leads to reach that desired growth. We will discuss, and as Sarah mentioned before, the Expo underwent a large organizational restructure only a year ago. And so our team has observed that the restructure is blocking some of those leads we've poured in from reaching the events bucket. So our goal today was not only to increase the amount of leads going in the top, but to also improve the flow through the sales process so that more reach into the events bucket. We will discuss how that is possible later on in the presentation. Now on to Lauren to discuss break-even analysis.
Thank you, Chad. We have performed a break-even analysis based on the financial statements provided by the client as of December 31st, 2015, in order to project a target profit as well as an increased number of target events. Our calculations indicate that they need 126 events to break even throughout the fiscal year. This graph demonstrates contribution margin in blue and fixed cost in orange. Based on their business activity in 2015, they not only broke even, but were profitable by holding 138 events. However, it is our goal to increase their profitability. Therefore, we're recommending an increase of 30% in their annual events, which we will discuss in a later section. Next, Elizabeth is going to discuss our recommendations.
Thank you, Lauren. So as Chad mentioned with the funnel model, the current sales process is blocking potential customers from engaging in business with the Expo. And it's our goal to fix this with our recommendations. Our recommendations are based off of 3 key elements: the desire to build relationships with the community while increasing awareness of the Expo, as well as results of previous customer surveys, and the goal of generating revenue. So the 3 recommendations that we're suggesting include the hiring of a new event manager to distribute workloads, as well as a local business fair to increase awareness to our target market, and a customer appreciation fund to make customer service a central selling point of the Expo. While conducting research on the internal structure of the Expo, many clients noted that they felt the Expo was understaffed. However, they did make a point to mention that they feel that the customer service of the current employees is excellent, but they felt that the overall process would be more efficient if there was additional staffing. Currently, there are 2 full-time positions dedicated to the Expo, one serving as the Director of Marketing and the other as an Operations Manager. The Director of Marketing has many tasks, which we aim to break up into 2 separate positions, one to secure a new customer base and the other to retain current customers. Now, the primary goal of this new hire would be an event manager who would see the clients through the booking process until the day of the actual event. One of the goals of this new hire would be to increase the overall customer service satisfaction, ensuring that all customers know that their needs are going to be met when doing business with the Expo. When talking with clients, many of them noted that the customer service currently offered by the Expo was one of their main selling points in choosing to do business with them. So with this new hire, it's our goal to only build off of the superb customer service that already exists within the Expo, which is exactly what the implementation of a new hire would do. Our second recommendation is centered around forming community partnerships with local businesses while increasing awareness of the Expo. We are suggesting that the Expo host a free community event, such as a local business fair. By targeting local businesses, this will bring these businesses directly to the Expo, increasing awareness of the rentable venue space. We feel that hosting a local business fair will begin to build the reputation that the Expo is here to partner alongside these local businesses, spurring them on to succeed in their endeavors. We feel that this will also transition the Expo from a more passive marketing plan to a more assertive plan of action, just because this will bring customers directly to the venue site rather than waiting for those customers to come to them. And this brings me to our third recommendation, a customer appreciation fund. As I mentioned earlier, customer service has been a central selling point when customers choose to do business with the Expo. When talking to clients, one of them even made the point to mention to us that one of the current employees of the Expo went above and beyond to exceed their expectations by upgrading them to a nicer amenity free of charge. This made a lasting impression on that client, making them want to return the next year to do business with the Expo again. The goal of a customer appreciation fund would be to ensure that all customers know that they are appreciated as a customer at the Expo and that they are truly a valued customer. The amount that we have allocated to this fund is less than 2% of all current revenue, making this a very feasible possibility for the Expo to implement. Now, this fund can encompass a variety of things, such as providing a nice bouquet of flowers to the host as a thank you, to an upgrade to a nicer amenity free of charge, or even taking the client out to lunch. The whole goal of this fund is to boost receptivity among the community, making it known that the Expo truly values and appreciates their customers. Next, Lauren is going to talk about the financial impact of our recommendations.
Thank you, Liz. Our recommendations are based off of improving internal and external conditions, which we believe will increase their overall productivity and client satisfaction. First off, we believe that if they had one more full-time staff to increase productivity, it will enhance their efficiency and coordinate event schedule. It will enhance client satisfaction. The cost of this new staff will include the estimated annual salary and employee benefits. Additionally, we are suggesting if they make minor cosmetic changes to the lobby area of the Jack Melon building, it will include their in order to enhance their athletic part of it, because this is the first impression that visitors see when they come for a tour of the venues. We're suggesting those minor touch-ups such as painting, ceiling tile, and flooring, which are covered in the cost of external improvements. To enhance their internal control and brand awareness, we also suggest that they invest on their website, software, and professional photography, which is the cost of internal improvements. Lastly, we suggest that they have a customer appreciation fund. The total of our recommendations would be a fixed cost of $68,000 annually. After our recommendations, we were able to project that during first year, we expect 10% increase in their number of events while they maintain the level of profit that they generated in 2015 and cover the new fixed cost, which is approximately $25,000. That is 163 events total, which is about 2 more events per month. Next, in year 2, if they actively implement our recommendations and strive to offer great customer service, we expect 25% increase in their number of events, which is 172 events. That is approximately 3 more events per month. Holding 172 events will increase their profit to approximately $50,000. Lastly, in year 3, if they keep improving internally and externally while offering great customer service, we anticipate 30% increase in their number of events, which is 180 events. That is approximately 4 more events per month. This would increase their profit to approximately $70,000. In conclusion, external and internal improvements will lead to better work efficiency and higher rate of return of clients. With our recommendations, we project that they will reach target event of 180 per year, which is 30% increase by end of year 3. This projected profit graph demonstrates our ultimate scope from year 0 to year 3. Since they use only 6% of their capacity in the prior year, we believe that this projection is very capable and realistic. Next, Chad is going to conclude this presentation.
Thanks, Lauren. So up on the screen here, I have a picture from last year's State Fair. And I think this picture captures the essence of the fair. Many of us have been to enjoy the sights, sounds, and summertime in the Pacific Northwest. This family-friendly, old-fashioned, classic atmosphere brings togetherness and community to the Salem area. We want the Expo to emulate the qualities that the fair has already made well known. We want the Expo to create an experience like the fair that keeps clients and guests coming back year-round. Just wanted to take a moment to thank the judges for all their valuable feedback today. We really appreciate your time. Wanted to thank Mike, Kim, and Wayne from the Expo for working with us on this project, and Kathy Moore and Kelly Gosman, our mentors. We're so thankful for all of you guys' help, and a big thank you to the audience for sticking around to listen to our presentation this afternoon. Thank you so much. We'd love to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, Jonathan.
Oh, I'd love to kick off. So that was a very mature presentation. So much so that it sounded as though you were 40 plus. I don't panic. You don't look like us. You just sounded that way. So congratulations for that. 2 areas of exploration. One was in the start of your presentation, you spoke about internal things going on, structural things internally. And I was curious about how you discovered that, because usually that's the stuff of politics and doesn't appear on the stage of Corban University.
Yes, as we were working with the Expo, this is something they're very aware of. With this restructuring, they basically have a fresh start, which is a really cool opportunity for them. So they've been in this process of restructuring and fixing internal policies, but this is something that they're still improving on, which is how we were aware of it.
So essentially, it came from their confessional type of thing.
Yes.
Okay. Second question is, I want to just challenge you on the way in which you've structured the profitability and so on, because you were talking about the number of events, but this is a very peculiar setup, because you've got buildings of 40,000 square feet down to 40. So you could achieve the number of events by just having all those little events there, but that might not make the mix. So I'm curious as to why you didn't do some figures that showed 3 more events using a 40,000 space would be equal to, say, 12 of the smaller space. But it seemed to me you were trying to convince us that just by increasing the number of events would increase the profitability without any recognition of the square footage.
So when we were looking at the mix between the large and the small events, we set our profit and our numbers on the average pricing. So we realized that 10 smaller events is not equal to 10 larger events. The reason we chose smaller to medium-sized events is because we were looking for reliable revenue. As the Expo is improving and trying to pour money back into their facilities, they can't wait on the larger events, which is why we've structured it around the average pricing and an increase of smaller and medium-sized events that they can rely on. That's a good question.
Okay. So I want to congratulate you. A very good presentation. And I was happy to see that you brought into the mix that you were encouraging them to hire another person, because that was one question I had is, do they have enough staffing to reach out to the community? So good for that. And you mentioned, I believe you said they break-even analysis was 126 events. And if my ratio is right, that comes out to 630 leads. So how many events are they currently having, and how does that equate to their current lead structure?
So the 60-20-12 ratio, that was something the Expo gave us. And then we were also given, so their total events per month this year was 126. And then we just based all of the ratios off of that. Off of those, the 60, 20, and 12.
Okay, so they were able to do their break even now.
Yes, they generated 25,000 profit this year.
Okay, so what is their goal? Like, what is is it the 180 now?
Yeah, it's the 180 events
180,
per year.
Okay, and how are they going about generating those 630 leads to create the 126?
Yeah. That's what we hoped with the new hire. They would have time to really focus on bringing those new clients in. That was one of their main responsibilities, was to bring in new leads.
Okay, but they're already at break even now.
Mm-hmm.
And you're saying, so they're able to reach break even now without bringing in 630 new leads.
Yes, but the year 3 projection was to reach a $70,000 profit.
Okay.
Not break even.
Another question is, one of the main events you talked about was having a business expo there. And I know because I participated in it through the chamber, they had something called Showbiz that they have since stopped because of the interest in the community and the kind of the return for the businesses. Was that addressed as far as viability and what the outcome would be for businesses that was incentive for them to join in that expo?
We did not directly address that, but what we looked at was just the local businesses in the area and generating that interest with the local businesses. And with that, the idea in mind that targeting those businesses, bringing them in and kind of hosting them here and showing them the venue, that'll raise awareness of the venue space more for hosting local business events there in the future.
Ben?
Yeah, I was just going to say a few comments, ask a question. Regarding the small venues, when I think of the Expo personally, I think of an RV show, I think of a large trade or home show, I think of tons of concrete, not very intimate. It would be like the comfortability of putting 10 people in this room and holding a meeting. You walk in and you go, this is kind of weird. And I think there's a huge market in Salem for smaller groups to rent if the Expo can be partitioned off, if the rooms are set up that way. And I don't know if you guys looked at that. It's kind of piggybacking off of the question here earlier is, the size of groups that you're looking at. There's a huge, for example, of ethnic population in the Salem area. And I work with a lot of the Marshallese groups, for example, and they love to have parties for various family events. And I don't think they would ever think of the Expo as a place to hold an event. And is that viable? If the fixed expense is a significant part of the cost for the Expo, could that be done properly? And could you reduce the number of leads that turn to sales if you do a better job of showcasing what, pictures online and building how you can just go online and say, hey, that's a perfect room for me, and you make it more cost appropriate considering the small size of the group?
It's funny that you mentioned the Hispanic community because a large part of their events is actually quinceañeras, and so that's more of the smaller events that are coming in, so they are aware of the Expo. So when considering different events to host with the Expo, we were aware that a lot of quinceañeras were held there, and so we kind of wanted to shift our focus to bringing in different groups of people, but focusing on the smaller groups like the local businesses and bringing those in. As far as the leads go,
Yeah, we were hoping as they gain more community awareness and people become more aware that the Expo isn't just for RV shows, that you don't need to bring in as many leads anymore, and it would be self-sustaining as time goes on. Thank you.
Okay, Shannon?
Did you consider widening your scope of reaching out for leads, for instance, leveraging local tourism industries like Travel Salem, who is already going to national conferences and bringing in events to the Salem region?
Yeah, we did not consider that, but that's a really good idea. Thank you.
Dave?
In the beginning, you talked about a couple of the other expo centers that similar types of venues. Could you talk further about either reasons why people choose them over Salem, or what other types of events they do that might be opportunities for Salem?
So when we surveyed their current customers, some of them had multiple shows that were in different locations. So they were a great source for that. And they told us about their experience at the Expo versus the competition. Something that the Expo has that the competition doesn't always have is a more flexible setting. Some of the other places are big, but don't have the same flexibility that Expo has. You can hold any event at the Expo. They'll work with you, and you can customize it to make it whatever you want. That's something we saw with just being local, too. We had people say, this is the only area in Salem that's big enough to do what I do. So that's something looking forward. They have something that, unless they want to drive to, all these other places on the outskirts, or go to a more expensive place like the Salem Convention Center, that's their option, is the Expo.
One more unrelated question. You had in the proposal $1,800 in external improvements, and I just kind of glancing at the pictures, I wonder, are they seeing any impact from you talked about the lobby area, but what about the outside? A couple of the buildings look kind of nice, but a couple of them look like they've been there a while.
Yes, so it is our idea to start with the lobby improvements because that is the first place that when they're giving a tour, that's where the potential clients will come and meet for a tour. So that's why we are suggesting just initially redoing the lobby area, and then as they're generating more revenue, to pour in more money back into the facility. And so we've actually allocated after the lobby improvements are done in the first year, we allocated a small fund to pouring in more money into the facilities the next years. But we just wanted to start smaller and kind of work our way up because of revenue issues.